In the midst of darkness, when everything around you feels cold and silent, a subtle shift occurs. You might not notice it at first, but it is there, a gentle whisper in your soul, a soft call to awaken. It is in these moments, when the world seems to have abandoned you, that you realize the power you've always held within. And in the very dark moments, when hope seems like a distant memory, you will discover your true strength. At first, everything felt calm. You were the kind of person who brought peace wherever you went. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was the kind of peace that settled like a quiet dawn, soft and healing. You didn't need to shout to be heard. Your very presence, your kindness, your warmth, the love you radiated, spoke volumes. You entered their lives like a breeze, offering them a solace they never knew they needed. The storm raged around them, but you were their calm. You brought balance to their chaos, an unspoken understanding that everything could be okay if they just allowed it. But as you stood there, offering all the peace and love that had ever lived within you, they didn't see it for what it was. They saw your kindness as a threat. They saw your calm as a weakness. In their world of constant struggle and noise, they couldn't understand how someone could exist in such serenity. To them, peace wasn't something to cherish, it was something to fear. They took your light for granted, thinking it would always be there to guide them. And when the storm of life grew too strong, they turned their backs. They rejected you, discarded your love, and let the chaos reign once again. It's a cruel thing, isn't it? When you give so much of yourself only to have it misunderstood. When the very thing you offer is the one thing they push away. You can't help but wonder, why did they reject the peace you brought? What made them so afraid of it? But the answer is simple. They had no place for it. Their hearts were consumed by their own fears, their own insecurities. They were too lost in their own pain to see the truth of your love. And so, they cast you aside, thinking they were better off without you. But what they didn't realize was this. Their rejection wasn't your failure, it was their loss. You did not break when they turned away. You simply began to see the truth of who you were. You were not weak for offering them your peace. You were strong for continuing to give, even when you had nothing left to receive in return. You realized that. Their chaos was never yours to carry. You had offered them your peace, but it was up to them whether they accepted it. And so the pain of betrayal settled deep within you, but instead of breaking you, it transformed you. You began to understand that you had never needed them to validate your worth. You didn't need their approval or their acceptance. The peace you gave was never for them to claim. It was always for you. And with that understanding came a clarity you had never known before. The weight of their rejection may have hurt, but you were strong enough to rise above it. Your worth was not tied to their perception of you, and with each passing day, you shed the pieces of yourself that had been weighed down by their judgment. You reclaimed the peace you had given away. You learned to live in it again, to embrace it. The chaos that once threatened to swallow you up became just another passing storm, nothing more than a backdrop to your own strength. But for them, they were not so lucky. They had turned their back on peace, and now they were trapped in their own turmoil. They thought they could live without the calm you brought. But as their lives spiraled into disorder, they quickly realized how wrong they were. The same chaos they had thrived in now consumed them. The things they once controlled slipped through their fingers, And what they didn't know was this: the peace you gave them, the peace they rejected, was gone. There was no turning back now. They would search for it, desperately looking for something to bring them the serenity they had once known. But it was too late. Peace could not be found in the rubble of their choices. It was a lesson they would never learn. No matter how hard they tried, the storm of their own making was too much for them to bear, and as they sat amidst the chaos they created, they would realize one painful truth: they would never find peace again. And so, the story unfolded. You moved on, not out of anger, but out of strength. You didn't need to hold on to the pain they caused. You didn't need revenge or retribution. Your life had become about something far greater, your own growth. And with each step forward, you became stronger than you ever imagined. You had turned the pain of betrayal into the power of transformation. You had taken back what was always yours, your peace. And with that peace came freedom. They remained stuck, trapped in their own darkness. While you emerged into the light of your own making, you rebuilt yourself, piece by piece. Not out of bitterness, but out of sheer resilience. You didn't need them to see your worth, you knew it. You carried it with you every step you took away from the chaos. And as the years passed, you grew stronger, wiser, and more at peace with yourself than ever before. The ultimate realization came not just for you, but for them as well. They knew, deep down, that they had lost something they would never get back. The peace you once offered them would never return. They would continue to search, through other people, through distractions, through all the things that never brought them joy. But nothing would ever compare to the peace they had lost. And in that moment, when they sat in the ashes of their own destruction, you stood free, free from the pain, free from the chaos they had tried to force upon you, free from their judgment. You were free, and that freedom was your victory. It wasn't a victory over them, it was a victory over yourself. You had reclaimed your power, your peace, and your worth. And that freedom, that's something they would never know. You walked away from it all, stronger than you'd ever been, because you had found the one thing that could never be taken from you: peace within yourself. You are no longer defined by their choices. You are defined by your own. And in that definition, you found your true power.